3, Hill Lad, John Frankham. 4, Lucky Vane, John Burke. 5, Burnham Omen, Kevin Mooney. 6, Get Out of My Way, Paul Barton. 7, Musso, Mr. Simon Sherwood. 8, Midday Gun, Graham McCourt. 9, another captain, Andrew Stringer. 11, Roswell Reaver, Donald Nolan. 12, Colonel Christie, Jerry Newman. 14, Don Sabreur, Sam Morshead. 15, Laser Benny, Phil Tuck. 18, Space Starred Eddie Brooke. 21, Letterbox, Colin Brown. 23, Swallow Prince, James Davis. 24, Nomadic Star, Carl Burke. 26, Rudder Frontier, written by Bill Smith now, and still no news either of the Stewards' inquiry or...
Well, one thing's for certain, I shall be a lot more comfortable in here than out there, but they'll be earning a slice of the jocks of £20,000, all but a few quid that goes to the winner of the Coral Welsh National. And news from the sponsors that today the best-backed horse is Colonel Christie, was laid to lose £35,000 at 25 to 1 is now 16s, and another captain from almost the Scottish border, Andy Scott's stable there, laid to lose £25,000 at 33s, he's now 22 to 1. It is going to be a very big slog, and here is one who's certainly known to be able to slog, Corbiere, and doesn't he look well? Ridden by Ben DeHaan, his Grand National partner. Corbiere still got a little bit of middle, but there's a long way to go to Aintree, and of course he's only had one run so far this season. That run was a good run. He pleased his connections and most of the observers as well when finishing third to Bush Guide. That was at Haydock Park over 3.5 miles mid-December. So with the ensuing work that he's had and that run, he should be pretty straight. The thing about Corbiere is that we know he stays, and he is the most perfect jumper. You know, he's an armchair ride, this fellow. He jumps fences particularly well. He doesn't chance them at all, and that over 3 miles 6 furlongs is going to be a very big plus in his favour. Looks well, doesn't he? I think you'll be seeing a lot more of this fellow through the season. That is Mr. Burrows Corbiere. And following him is Jenny Pitman's other runner. This is number 3, Borough Hill Lad. And this one is probably the more fancied of the two in the stable, because he's got 10 stone 6 plus whatever John Frankham is putting up overweight. We expect it to be about 4 pounds. So Borough Hill Lad, ridden by John Frankham, certainly is the speedier of the two horses at home, but he does have a flaw. He can miss the odd fence. And also he's had leg trouble on and off over his career. He'd been with 3 trainers, or he's with his 3rd trainer now, but you wouldn't suspect him of having leg trouble, would you? What a good walker he is. Really flicks his toe out. Big, strong horse. Normally, or always has been ridden for a long, long time by Phil Tuck, who of course rides Laser Baney in this race for Harry Bell. So that is Borough Hill Lad, who's had one run only this season, and that was over hurdles, over the smaller obstacles, but has had a lot of work and is very fancied by the stable. Now this is what the winning owner will be taking home with him, and that wouldn't look out of place in anyone's dining room, would it? Lucky Vane, well, this horse, as if you were listening earlier to Julian talking to Toby Balding, his trainer, is certainly capable of winning the Coral Welsh National. He stays, he goes in the mud, but again, like Borough Hill Lad, he does rather disrespect the odd fence. He can be spectacular, but sometimes I think he forgets to count and hits the bottom rail. John Burke, his new partner, John has partnered him 5 times and won the last 3 occasions he's ridden him. He was 2nd the time before that and 4th on their first meeting. Brian Riley, who used to ride him, actually went to Toby Balding and said, look, I don't think I'm getting on with this horse, you better try someone else. I wonder, will he be regretting that decision? But I'm sure he won't, even if the horse wins, because John Burke is a very much respected man in the changing room, and everybody will be wishing him well. Of course, he is a previous winner of the Coral Welsh National. He won on Rag Trade in 1976 before going on to win the Aintree Marathon itself. So will this augur well for a repeat of that? Jockeys are just coming through into the paddock now, getting their last-minute instructions there. The colours of Robert Gibbons and Midday. Looking at now, Kevin Mooney rides this one. You will see from his form figures that he refused last time out, but in fact that's hardly fair. It was in the Grand National and he had nowhere to jump because horses had stopped in front of him and run across the fence, and you'd have needed a jet engine to get over the melee. But anyway, Baney was attributed with a refusal. So in fact we hear that there is no change to the result of the last race. The steward's inquiry decree that the wandering around was accidental, didn't affect the result, and everything stays as it is. So Get Out of Me Way, this horse trained by Graham Thorne, and there's his owner in the foreground with the brown trilby, Vince Kilkenny. Well, this man can best be described as one of the great characters. When he falls out hunting and breaks his shoulder, he just shrugs and gets back on again, and has it seen to at the end of the day. Vince Kilkenny, whose favourite saying, in fact, is "Get out of me way," and you'd be very wise to do so if you see him afterwards in the bar, because Vince is a very strong chap. There's the trainer, Graham Thorne, with the peak count attending to the girth, and Graham, who took over this horse from Adrian Maxwell last season. Adrian went to train in the United States, having trained for a long time in Ireland, and he produced this horse to win the William Hill Great Yorkshire Chase. May have been a slight bit lucky on that occasion, because Raymack fell when holding a clear lead, but the one thing about this horse, he's got a little bit of class. Get Out of Me Way, trained by Graham Thorne, ridden by Paul Barton. Corbière, saw earlier, big, strong horse, isn't he? And just getting excited now. Certainly on the heavy sort for a chaser, but in fact I suppose he's more like the old-fashioned chaser, isn't he? So Corbière and Borough Hill lad, Jenny Pittman, will be getting very excited. She certainly does jump up and down in the stands and shouts a fair bit. Well, with two runners, both fancied, there'll be plenty to shout about. Now, Nomadic Star is number 24. This is one that's running way out of the handicap. A lot of them, you know, were handicapped way below 10 stone, but have to carry the minimum weight. Nomadic Star was allotted the weight of 6 stone 5, so that gives you some idea of the handicapper's thoughts on this one's chances. He's quite useful in his own class. He's been second twice this season, third and fourth. He was unplaced last time, and he's running in the colours of Henry Ford for Michael Chapman. Carl Burke has the leg up on this one, and if he's kicking and pushing all the way, at the end of 3-6, he'll know he's had a ride, won't he? Well, Nomadic Star sure to pick up another chase, but I doubt whether it will be today. Now, here's one that could win off the 10-stone mark, Musso. Musso from the Fred Winter yard, and he's ridden by Simon Sherwood, the younger brother of Oliver Sherwood, who is the assistant trainer to Fred Winter. And we hear that John Frankham is in fact putting up 3 pounds overweight on Borough Hill lad, so he's riding at 10.9, and that's the lightest John has done today, because of course he's already ridden at 10.10. But Musso we're looking at now from Fred Winter's yard. He would of course be normally ridden by Ben DeHaan. Fred Winter has let Ben off this one to ride Corbière. But Simon Sherwood is second in the table at the moment, the amateur table. He's had half the winners of the leader, Dermot Brown. This fellow's had 8. So Musso, a good staying chaser, running off the bottom weight and bang in form from a very good stable. Rosewell Reaver, this is a horse from the north of England, or in fact from Scotland, from the border country, and he's got that peculiar gait. It's called stringhalt. You see him behind, the way he sort of picks his leg up in an exaggerated fashion. Some horses do it even more exaggerated than this, and he's ridden by Don Nolan. Well, Rosewell Reaver hit the deck in no uncertain fashion last time out behind Bush Guide when he was coming to challenge him, and that was a good performance. This is certainly one that could go close given a clear run, but as you can imagine, over 3 miles 6, I think they'll be pretty strung out by the time they come to the end. Don Nolan, not a chap we see down the south of England very often, but he's a good lad up the north. Say lad, he's had his 30th birthday. He won't see that again, but he's certainly able if Rosewell Reaver is. I've just heard that Andy Jones gets 50 quid for the Coral Welsh National, and some indication of the size and strength of this field is that as the leader hits the course, still we've got at least 9 in the paddock. But this is Royal Judgment, trained by Josh Gifford, a horse that is plagued by the handicapper, really. He's got 11-7, always runs consistently, and of course he'll never go down the handicap. Very capable, but I think he's got probably too much weight. He's in the colours of Lady Rose, ridden by Richard Rowe. Following him, in sharp contrast to the leader, who's quite a finely made horse, is Corbiere, looking very, very well. He was found as a foal in Ireland by Captain Charles Radcliffe, who is in fact a steward at this course, and Charles has produced many, many good horses in his time. Corbiere, 6-1 shot at the moment, and I think he represents good value at that. Borough Hill Lad, much on his toes, a very excitable horse this. They're just taking the rug off Paul Price, a native of Hinton Parva, where Jenny Pittman first started training. Borough Hill Lad, 7-2 favourite at the moment. And there is Lucky Vane, John Burke in the saddle. Lucky Vane, 3 wins on the trot now. He's a 6-1 shot, and Toby Balding knows what is required of a good staying chaser. And John Burke, who rides with a good, sensible length of stirrup leather there, you can see, he tells me that this horse never gives you any warning when he's going to miss a fence, so it's quite prudent to let your irons down by a hole or 2. Then we come to Bonamoman after him. This one in the colours of Basil Thwaites, and he set up a good string of wins in staying chasers before the Grand National last year. He's a 10-1 shot at the moment. What a fine horse he is. He's by Spartan General, the late Spartan General, and certainly in his mould. Behind him, we should have Get Out of Me Way. Quite a long horse, Get Out of Me Way, and he suffers from back trouble, muscle trouble in his back, and Graham Thorner doing well to keep him right. But most horses suffer from back trouble through the course of a national hunt season. He's a 9-2 shot at the moment. Get Out of Me Way. Behind him is Musso, this handsome chestnut horse. This one, in fact, was bought by Doug Smith, the former 5-time champion flat jockey, for his owner, David Bott. Musso, 14-1 shot at the moment, and that is quite, I think, quite a good price if you fancy an each-way shot. After him, Midday Gun, another very bright chestnut in the colours of Robert Gibbons, senior partner of Fox and Gibbons. He's going off there to the start, trained by John Weller. So following him, another captain should be next, but of course now that they've been let off the leash, they will be changing their order. There's another captain in the red colours. 3 miles 6. In fact, they should stop down there, inspect that fence, and then they'll canter back to the front of the grandstands. They start exactly in front of the grandstands and do 2 complete circuits. So let's have a look at the starting price of the last race.
Hill Lad, the favourite, 7-2. Get Out of Me Way, 9-2. Corbiere and Lucky Vane, both on 6-1. Bonham Onum, 10-1. Lasso Baney and Musso, 14-1. 20-1, bar 7.
Scattered across the fence, I doubt whether they will be. Isn't that nice? Look at how the horses are pricking their ears, most of them. Very intelligent. A lot of people don't give horses much... they don't think they're very intelligent, but I can assure you they are. Much credit was the word that I was struggling to find there. But anyway, eventually he came. It's all the kicks I had on the head, and some of them were in the Welsh National, of course. And the spots is Rada Frontier. So there's Borough Hill Lad just cantering off. It's going to be a very, very long way. I can't tell you how hard this is going to be. A lot of horses get 3 miles, a lot get 3.5, but there aren't too many who stay the distance and last 3 miles 6. Well, Corbiere, he's a very robust horse, isn't he? So it's very hard to weigh up just how straight he is, but he's had the 1 run and almost a fortnight work since to put him right. He certainly is a handsome looking brute, isn't he? So Corbiere, he's by Harwell out of a Vulgan mare, Ballycashan, and he's won £82,000 in prize money so far. Supported Laser Baney from Scotland, from Harry Bell in the border country. 2 Scottish runners, of course, Rosewell Reaver, and both not without a chance. Well, Laser Baney, ridden by Phil Tuck, who would normally have been Borough Hill Lad's pilot, and he's having a good start to the season with 27 winners so far. Baney certainly will stay this distance, there's no doubt about that. He was second last time out at Kelso. That was behind Little Frenchman. He had another captain behind him, and he was also second at Carlisle to Final Argument. Well, that's quite good form. He's 12 to 1 from 14s, just hardening 2 points. Harry Bell, who trains this one, also had a terrific season so far with 26 winners. There in the yellow vest with the grey sleeves, having his girth done up, that was Don Sabreur. He's trained by Tony Pearman, permit holder, who trains actually in the heart of steeplechasing country up on the Berkshire Downs. He's ridden by Sam Morshead, and in fact he's an out-and-out stayer. Whether he's quite good enough for this, I don't know, but he should be certainly thereabouts. So, with the wind sweeping across, luckily the rain has stopped here because it's pretty uncomfortable riding, especially if you've been wasting, and a lot of jockeys here, of course, will have been doing so to do the weight on these horses. It's not very comfortable. They'll have nothing underneath their silks and pretty much nothing under their breeches. A pair of ladies' tights, most of them, to try and keep them warm. So the crowds, as you can see up in Tattersall's, really packed to capacity. I'm glad to see it. It's a pretty miserable day, but it's good that people will come to see good racing. This start here, Bonum Omen, you can see being trotted to keep him warm. It's quite important. So you can imagine that these horses have been rugged up for a long time. Now they need to be kept on the move. Borough Hill Lad is 7 to 2 favourite. Get Out of Me Way is now second favourite at 5 to 1. Corbiere 7's going out a point there. Lucky Vein 5 to 1, 10 to 1 bar. Bonum Omen, typical Spartan General horse this, and a Durstay, likes the soft ground, but this is his first run of the season. Kevin Mooney told me he's as fit as he can possibly be without a race. This horse, of course, if you watch the review of the year, was featured laughing as Kevin Mooney was eulogizing. This horse seemed to be taking the mickey. In fact, he looks as if he's doing it now. He must have very sloppy muscles in the bottom jaw, mustn't he? I know a few people like that. But anyway, Bonum Omen, a very good racehorse, and certainly loves this sort of ground. Fine fettle, isn't he? Got a right shine on his coat. There is Nomadic Star, horse we saw briefly earlier, and number 12, one we haven't seen. Well, this is interesting. Colonel Christie, he's a full brother to the great Captain Christie, but not, I'm afraid, quite as speedy. Ridden by Jerry Newman, formerly based in Ireland and one of their very top jockeys, just starting to get a few more rides here, but it's a very competitive business, and Jerry Newman is certainly one of the best Irish jockeys. I'd like to see him win this because it might just help him to get on in this country. Bonum Omen 9 to 1 from 10 to 1, and this race worth just a few pounds short of 20,000 to the actual winner, 6,000 to the second, almost 3,000 to the third. And starting rail going towards the start. Let's join Peter.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, the white flag up. They're under orders. 22 fences to be jumped, and they're running. Swallow Prince, Corbiere, Colonel Christie, Midday Gun, and Rosewell Reaver. Rosewell Reaver goes up slightly wide of the rails to take up running as they begin to swing left-handed to uphill climb at this point. Rosewell Reaver taking them along, these 18 runners, from Don Sabreur on the inside, and then Swallow Prince and Royal Judgment. And then on the inside is Nomadic Star. Just behind Nomadic Star is Colonel Christie with Midday Gun. And behind him comes Bonum Omen. And a long run to the first. Just behind Bonum Omen is Get Out of Me Way. And then Word of Frontier, the back marker at the moment, is another captain. The leaders come to the first. Don Sabreur on the inside of Nomadic Star and Swallow Prince. Swallow Prince actually just marginally in the lead from Don Sabreur, a little between the two. Rosewell Reaver is next, and then comes Royal Judgment, the top weight. Corbiere's right up there at the first ditch, and behind them Bonum Omen and Colonel Christie, and they're all safely over that ditch. Running to the third. Swallow Prince landed in the lead there, and Colonel Christie a faller. Colonel Christie has gone at that one. His rider's up, Jerry Newman's up, the horse is all right. They're both all right, both up on their feet, and in fact, they've been reunited. I'm sure he won't remount, but they have been reunited. That was the ward-up. Don Sabreur on the inside of Rosewell Reaver with Nomadic Star between horses, then Royal Judgment, and then Corbiere as they come to the fifth. Then Midday Gun, and on the outside, Get Out of Me Way. Then comes Borough Hill Lad on the inside, followed by Bonham Omen. Over these six, Don Sabreur landed in the lead from Swallow Prince, and now Corbiere going right up. Spot his white face towards the right of the picture. Corbiere on the right, Don Sabreur in the centre, being tracked by Nomadic Star. Right over towards the left is Royal Judgment. Just in behind them, Swallow Prince. And Bonham Omen not far behind the leaders. Don Sabreur making it though from Royal Judgment. Nomadic Star and Corbiere together, Swallow Prince and Bonham Omen, and Get Out of Me Way, and then Midday Gun, and then Borough Hill Lad, and then Musso, and behind Musso is Laser Baney. And then comes Lucky Vane. Behind Lucky Vane is Rosewell Reaver, then Spaced Out and Letterbox, and another captain. And then Roi de Frontier last. Over the seventh, Don Sabreur from Royal Judgment. Swallow Prince. This is the second of the ditches. Don Sabreur, in fact it was Royal Judgment who landed in the lead there. Swallow Prince on the near side, on the left as we see them. Don Sabreur on the far side, the white face of Corbiere showing there. John Franklin going the shortest way on stable companion Borough Hill Lad. Bonham Omen right up with the leaders over the ninth. And some of them really struggling now, including Roi de Frontier, coming down to the next now. Number 10 of the 22 fences. Royal Judgment and Don Sabreur from Swallow Prince. And then Corbiere on the far side. Then Nomadic Star. Get Out of Me Way. Bonham Omen and Borough Hill Lad over on the far side, and Musso and Midday Gun and Lucky Vane getting closer, and then another captain and Laser Baney, and behind Laser Baney, Rosewell Reaver, and so passing the winning post on this first circuit. Nearest to us is Royal Judgment, Don Sabreur, and then right over on the far side, Corbiere. On the near side is Swallow Prince, and then Nomadic Star and Bonham Omen and Get Out of Me Way, and Midday Gun and Borough Hill Lad and Musso and Laser Baney, and then comes Lucky Vane, and then Rosewell Reaver and another captain, and Spaced Out and Letterbox, and finally Roi de Frontier. So going out into the country once again. At the halfway mark, Royal Judgment, Don Sabreur, Swallow Prince. Then on the inside, Corbiere, Get Out of My Way, Bonham Omen, Midday Gun, behind Midday Gun, Borough Hill Lad going very well, John Frankham on the inside, Laser Baney comes next, behind Laser Baney is Musso and Nomadic Star, Roi de Frontier has been pulled up, and now Lucky Vane beginning to get a bit closer, so is another captain. 16 left to jump now. 16 left in the race, I should say, and over the next, it was Royal Judgment who landed in the lead. Royal Judgment from Don Sabreur. This is the third ditch they're coming to. Corbiere jumped it third. Then Get Out of My Way on the outside. On the near side, Borough Hill Lad. Then Bonham Omen. Then comes Lucky Vane over the 14th. Nomadic Star is a fall-up. Royal Judgment coming to the water in the lead from Don Sabreur, Get Out of My Way, Corbiere, Borough Hill Lad, Midday Gun, Lucky Vane, Bonham Omen. Then comes Laser Baney. They've got 7 left to jump now. And the top weight, Royal Judgment in the lead. From Don Sabreur, Get Out of My Way, and Borough Hill Lad. A mistake there by Lucky Vane in 6th. Letterbox has been pulled up. 6 from home, the last right over on the far side. Royal Judgment lands in the lead from Get Out of My Way, Don Sabreur, Borough Hill Lad, Midday Gun, Lucky Vane, behind Lucky Vane, Bonham Omen. Corbiere is losing ground. Royal Judgment is clear as they round the top turn in the Coral Welsh National. Royal Judgment is clear. Swinging left-handed now, with Borough Hill Lad making progress all the time on the inside. Get Out of My Way has gone into second. Midday Gun's gone right up to join him. Racing towards the home turn now. And as they do so, it's Royal Judgment being pressed by Midday Gun. Get Out of My Way. Lucky Vein is improving all the time. Just behind him, Borough Hill Lad, then Don Sabro, then Bonham Omen. Behind Bonham Omen is Corbiere. They've got 5 left to jump now, and it's Royal Judgment being pressed by Midday Gun. Lucky Vein moves into third. Get Out of My Way is next, being followed by Borough Hill Lad as they come down to the next 5 from home. Royal Judgment and Midday Gun and Lucky Vein towards the near side. They're racing towards the final ditch now, and it's Royal Judgment over on the far side. Midday Gun, Lucky Vein towards the near side at the final ditch, and Borough Hill Lad coming back into the picture. Racing down towards the next, Royal Judgment now the third last from Midday Gun, Lucky Vein and Borough Hill Lad, and John Frankham still coming there strongly on the stand side. The third last. Royal Judgment lands in the lead from Borough Hill Lad and Lucky Vein. Racing down towards the second last now, and it's Borough Hill Lad with John Frankham putting up 3-pound overweight. And on the far side, Royal Judgment. Borough Hill Lad lands in the lead from Royal Judgment. Lucky Vein is back in third. They're racing down towards the final fence in the Coral Welsh National, and it's the gamble of the race. Borough Hill Lad going well on the inside, over on the near side, over on the far side. Royal Judgment, then Lucky Vein. Racing into the closing stages, it's Borough Hill Lad from Royal Judgment and Lucky Vein. Racing up towards the line, it's another for John Frankham as they race up towards the line. Borough Hill Lad wins the Coral Welsh National. Second is Royal Judgment, and third is Lucky Vein. They're the 1, 2, 3. It's going to be very close for fourth, with Midday Gun just holding Bonham Omen. Behind them came Corbiere, and so the result of the 1983 Coral Welsh National. First, number 3, Borough Hill Lad, owned by Mr. R.S. Riley, trained by Mrs. Jenny Pittman and ridden by John Frankham. Second was number 1, Royal Judgment, owned by Lady Roots, trained by Josh Gibbons and ridden by Richard Rowe. And third, number 4, Lucky Vein, owned by Miss Bridget Swire, trained by Toby Balding and ridden by John Burke. Fourth was number 8, Midday Gun. And so Borough Hill Lad triumphs. His lad, Andy Jones, having already won before the race the £50 for the best turned out horse. And Jenny Pittman follows her triumph in the Grand National at Aintree with Corbiere by winning the Welsh equivalent. Borough Hill Lad immediately getting a 33-to-1 quote for the Gold Cup from both the sponsors, Corals, and the William Hill organisation. Here he is, John Frankham, on his 58th win of the season, put up 3-pound overweight, went very, very light over Christmas to put up an absolute minimum extra impost on this 7-year-old by Rich Boy out of Green Monkey, the winner of the Welsh National, as we can review with Julian Wilson.
Yes, a classic Frankham ride. There's
12 pounds, of course, from the top weight Royal Judgment, including John's overweight. So a very fine performance by the top weight as well. The distance is 4 lengths and 3 lengths. Borough Hill Lad, the 130 favourite, and Royal Judgment at 25-to-1 chance. Lucky Vein 5-to-1, the third, and confirmation of those prices now.
First, number 3, Borough Hill Lad, 130 favourite. Second, number 1, Royal Judgment, 25-to-1. Third, number 4, Lucky Vein, 5-to-1. And fourth, number 8, Midday Gun, 20-to-1. First, Borough Hill